Well, hi, Dean. It's nice to talk to you again. It hasn't been
It's
that
good to
long.
see you, Jamie. You've been well?
Yeah, how have you been?
Good.
Good. Well, so I'm enjoying this new iteration, but for people obviously who haven't seen it yet, why don't you talk about what makes it, what sets it apart from the original, let's say? How is it different from the original, and what will they enjoy about this?
Well, this show is kind of designed that if you've never seen anything about the librarians before, you can just jump right in and watch the show and understand everything. But if you've seen the original movies or the original show, there's so many Easter eggs throughout the season that you get a little added value. Um, but we got really excited about the idea of saying, well, what other stories are taking place in the world of the library? And I think we learned really interesting lessons from Marvel and Lucasfilms that you can tell different stories and still be within the same canon. Um, in the original movie, we were introduced to this idea of this library that's been around forever and is a ridiculously amount of levels below the Metropolitan Library in New York. But when the series came on, we established this idea that there are these annexes around the world. And the series it took place around one particular annex in Portland, Oregon. And so John Rogers and I were talking about it and thought, well, what if there was an annex in Belgrade, Serbia in 1847? Why was it put there? Who was the librarian assigned there? What was his mission? And what would happen if through the course of him using magic when he's not supposed to, he ends up in modern day America, a modern day world in Belgrade, Serbia.
So, yeah.
And it became a different kind of fish out of water story that we got really excited about telling. And we thought, okay, so if he's here today, he's a librarian, he's brilliant, but he missed the Industrial Revolution. He doesn't know anything about modern technology. He doesn't know anything about the history of the last several world wars. So who could we partner with him to fill in the gaps of what he doesn't know?
Mhm.
And that's how this whole ensemble was put together.
Did you, I mean, like, how long ago, I guess, did you think that there would be more? I mean, I assume that maybe you've been trying to do this since the other one unfortunately ended. Because I know I was upset when it ended back then. So,
I never gave up. From the day we were told we were done, I kept trying to find ways to bring the show back. And then this opportunity showed up at the CW where, they had lost all the DC shows because there was new ownership there and they wanted to have a new franchise. And we talked about the library. They got very excited about doing it. And we started doing season one with the CW. They were great partners. And then I got this incredible phone call from Sam Linsky at TNT, who had been there from the very beginning, from the very first movie just over 20 years ago. And he said, do you think there's any chance that you could move the show from the CW to TNT? And I was like, oh my God, to bring this show back home would
yeah.
be absolutely amazing. And I have to tell you, the people at the CW could not have been more gracious about it. They understood why we wanted to come home again. They were supportive. We had to do a little bit of gymnastics figuring out how to make that work, but they really helped facilitate it and allowed us to be able to move the show. And now we're back home again, 20 and a half years later.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you need to find a way to bring leverage in somehow. Have like a crossover. That's what I
It
want to
would
see.
it would be a good thing.
Speaking of that, I know you have a couple guest casts there from the Ark, but I just want to mention I also noticed the costumes. I love that in the one episode, the little Ark Easter egg there, let's say.
So Ivana is our costume designer on both shows. She also did the Outpost for us. But what's remarkable is she doesn't go shopping for the clothes on the show. She makes everything. Everything you see people wear in every single episode, Ivana has made it. So it's incredible.
That's awesome. So I did want to talk about, obviously at the beginning you have Jake back to kind of introduce them to this universe. Is that something like you can foresee happening again, like trying to bring some of the old cast back, or was that kind of a one-off, or maybe he might be, I don't know. Is there anything you can say about that?
Well, I mean, we want this show to be its own show, but I want there to be Easter eggs for the fans who have been for the whole ride. So you'll find interwoven throughout season one and season two, a lot of things that are especially there for the long-term fan.
That's fair. Talk about casting this new series a bit.
Well, we got so lucky, you know. Not only are they incredibly talented, but they're incredibly nice. You know, this is a show that doesn't have an egomaniac in the cast. And that makes for doing the show so pleasurable. Um, and all of them are somewhat like jazz musicians. They really listen to one another. So when one starts going this way, the other one goes the other way. And there's this fantastic rhythm that they have, because this is a very fast-paced show. It's a lot of smart people who walk fast and talk fast,
Yeah.
and they just fell into this beautiful rhythm with one another. And then off camera, you know, because we shoot in Belgrade, Serbia, everyone's away from their family and friends, and they really had this bond that was created off camera, and that informed a lot of the relationships you see on camera.
How are you? I know obviously you're not doing everything at the exact same time, but you kind of have three things going. How hard has that been just, I don't know, doing it, but also even just kind of wrapping your head around getting them all separated, and it just seems like a lot.
It's crazy. I will very often be commenting on a storyline in a story meeting, and then someone will have to tap me on the shoulder and go, "I think that story's on the other show." They go, "Oh yeah, right, right, right." But hey, I'm so blessed that I get to do these shows and that people find them valuable. You know, I've spent my career doing escapist entertainment, and for most of my career, escapist entertainment has really been thought of as kind of a lesser art form. You know, it's not as important as the dark, serialized, heavy shows of, you know, that win Emmys and or get Oscars. But you know, when you go through a time of a pandemic and political upheaval and economic strife, the idea of getting to escape for an hour a week suddenly becomes a really valuable thing for people. And it's been really touching how many people have reached out and said, you know, I don't know if I could have gone through my cancer treatment without going to the magical library with you every week, or I couldn't have gotten through my divorce without being on that spaceship with you guys every week. You know, and it really shows that, you know, we may not be the kind of high art that is celebrated in our culture, but I think we're a really valuable part of the diet.
Yeah, I mean I love that it's fun. It's got a lot of energy and it's nice and uplifting, which is a very good thing. So talk about is there anything I guess I want to say like storyline wise that you didn't get to tell before that you kind of were able to adapt for this new series, or do you find like you're really starting completely from scratch with it, like
Um,
fact wise?
Well, I'd say for the most part, these are all new stories. But you know, what always happens in our writers' room is we have more ideas than we can service. And so there's a big book of stories and ideas that of stuff we never got to do. And so when we're in the writers' room, if we ever get into one of those ruts, we go, open the book. And we suddenly go through, oh, well, we never got to do the story about the puppets. Puppet episode. Here we go.
Yeah. I also want to talk really quick about I think her name's Elaine. I really like her character. I didn't expect she's different. I didn't expect her to be there. I don't know. I really enjoyed her. What made you kind of add her character to it?
Well, we knew that we wanted this annex to have its own caretaker, but we wanted to do something very different than what we had done both with Bob Newhart and what we'd done with John Larroquette. And when Caroline Lark auditioned, she brought this kind of female John Gielgud character, and it was so delightful, and it was so droll, and it was so dry. Uh, uh, yeah, we just fell in love with her, and then we started writing it for her and for her voice, and she's a great addition to the show.
It's a lot of fun. Do you have a favorite artifact from this show? This new series, I mean, like that you've
Um, well, in the pilot episode, Jenkins has gifted them a mini version of the magic door. I have the original magic door in my office, so it
Oh,
was so much fun when we saw this kind of miniature version that was created for it. So that might be my favorite.
all right. Is there like a favorite other than that, like a favorite storyline, I guess, that you can kind of tease something without giving too much away?
Well, I don't want to give any spoilers, but there is one episode this season that my daughter actually got to be the guest star on. So that one centers around paintings coming to life. So that's a very special episode for me, both because I like the story, but because I got to see my daughter perform.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's great. So other than juggling all these, what's been the most difficult part for you of this series in particular? I know you've been doing this for a while now, but
Well, it's difficult, but it's joyful in that we try not to water down our ambitions based on how much or how little money and time we have to make the show. I feel like the audience doesn't know how much a show costs or how long it takes. And that's not their concern. They want to see a great show. So the thing for us is, how do we make this show huge with what we've got and the time we've got, and we've gotten such amazing help. Episode 2 of season 1, we got to shoot in the Royal Ballet Theater and they gave us the finale. We shot actually in the Parliament. They gave us the Parliament to shoot it. So it's difficult securing these kind of locations and getting all these costumes and all these effects, but it's really rewarding because in many ways, I think on a production value level, we surpassed the original show.
is there anything that you can think of though that you really kind of had to change around because of that, because of the production costs and that kind of thing?
Well, we had to have a lot more European characters because our guest actors are Eastern European for the most part. So that is one compromise, but that's why we set the story there so it didn't seem out of place.
No. All right. Do you have a favorite Easter egg, either from this show or from one of the other shows that you can tease a bit?
Oh, I don't want to give any spoilers out, but um, there is there's a character that might surprise people that show up in 2 episodes this season, including the finale, and that character just filled me with joy when the character showed up.
All right, so I'll have to look for that. I'm looking forward to the finale. We got 8 of them, so we didn't get to see quite all of them, but getting there. You said season 1. Are you already starting another season?
We are halfway through shooting
I was
season
gonna
2.
say, I thought that I read that it was picked up for a second season. That's awesome. That's
That's
great.
the remarkable thing about being back at TNT is not only did they want the show to come over, they immediately greenlit season 2 after watching it. They didn't wait for, to see what other people thought. They believed in us, they believed in the show. And I think that's also important for fans because it's hard to commit to a new show if you don't know if it's going to continue. You
Um,
get very excited, you watch a show, and then you find out, oh, they're not doing another season. So the fans know for sure they get at least 2 seasons.
that's great. I can't wait to see the rest. I think we're pretty well past 9 minutes. But thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it. It's nice to see you again. We're going to be doing a weekly live stream on this show talking about it. So really excited
Fantastic.
for
Well, I
that.
look forward to
Yeah,
watching that. It's always good
yeah.
to see you.
It's good to see you too. And who knows? Maybe we'll have you on it. That'd be great.
That'd be
It'd be great
lovely.
to talk to you again soon. So thank you. Probably see you for your next show, next time when you're doing ARC promotion. Be talking. All right. Have a good day.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye bye.